Happy Tuesday, July 30th. The next to last day of July. That's exciting. Ready for a new month. Ready for the dog days of summer, August. But we're feeling good. We're having a good time. Olympics are underway, full swing. Doug, how's life over in Black Mountain, the greatest city in the world, where your place you'd live if a genie in a bottle offered you to live anywhere?
That's right. Greatest town in the world. Life is good, Matt. We've been full on Olympic fanboying or fan familying as a family, which has been great.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This year we've gotten really into it. The kids are really into it. Got the Peacock. Peacock does a great job with being able to pick the sport you want to watch and watch the replays and stuff like that. It's a totally different experience.
They solved the problem we had about no hub that I was complaining about the other.
yeah.
It makes it pretty easy.
They have the hub. There you go.
They do.
But yeah, last night got into mountain biking, which was cool. I never watched any Olympic mountain biking before. And we watched a bunch of whitewater canoeing, which was fun. I don't know, having a good time. How about you, Matt? What's new?
Not a whole lot. I mean, that's what we mostly did this weekend. We have my wife's sister and their families in town, so we watched a bunch of Olympics. Did some other little bit of stuff. Trampoline park yesterday, obligatory trampoline park trip that I went to but did not bounce. I just chaperoned, and it was fine.
Did you ever bounce?
I mean, I have bounced. I've bounced 2 or 3, 4 times maybe in my life with the kids, and it's okay. It's fine. I guess I don't get what the whole thrill is. It's just it's okay. But yeah, so I do that.
The thrill is pelting everybody with dodgeballs. That's the thrill.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten into all the games. I just sort of go to the main area. So maybe that's what I'm missing out on, basketball dunks and all that stuff.
Man, I thought about you over the weekend because I went out to Lake James with the family and we did some paddleboarding, and my mom came along. She brought her a kayak. We paddled over to a little island, did some swimming. I was like, oh, I should take out her kayak because it was fairly new kayak. Haven't ridden a kayak in a while. Got in and immediately flipped it. Immediately. Yeah.
Did you stand up like I did, and that's why you flipped it, or you just?
Well, I was standing up trying to get in, and immedially just tipped it right over. And I was like, I was giving Matt a really hard time for flipping his kayak.
All right, that makes you feel better. I figured it was just me to, fish out of water in the outdoor sports.
No, I don't. I mean, I can stand up paddleboard all day, every day without any problem. Second I get in a kayak, I flip it. It was funny.
You didn't have your phone in your pocket, did you? Like I did.
I didn't. No. I was smart. Didn't have anything that couldn't get wet.
See, there's where the outdoor skills come in. You knew.
Yeah.
Do that. Oh, good. That's funny. Good to hear it. All right. Well, quick good mornings here to Britters, KDC. KDC's been a big time participant in the past couple shows. I like that. Welcome, KDC. Again, D1 to Know Adventure Coach, consistently showing up over the past week or so. Anne Marie, Kate, our friend Kate, aka Rivercat. Mr. Jeffrey's here today. Always good to see Mr. Jeffrey. He continues to comment. He's present still on the YouTube channel, even though he's not here every day like he used to be. But always good to have Mr. Jeffrey at the live. Garuda Legends here. People are responding to Mr. Jeffrey. Leslie Knight's home from Ragbri, 453 miles in 7 days. That's got to be cycling, right?
Yes. Remember that was the ride across, I think it's Iowa.
Okay. Ride across.
It's we talked about it. A group ride, basically big ride across.
Yeah.
One of the states.
I was trying to figure out what the acronym Ragbri could mean.
Oh.
Ride across great big roads, all of Iowa. Matt O'Connor, Phyllis Hauser, and that's it. That's who's here. Who's checked in anyway. All right. I don't have too much else introductory wise. Anything else from you, Doug? Should we jump into our weather report? We are trying to do the shows a little faster now, more efficiently.
Yeah. So I think that's it.
Jump in. Quit wasting time. Get right in. By the way, I guess we do need to tease what we're going to talk about, and that's the Olympic athletes.
Yes.
Despite, as you'll hear in the weather report, a medal for a vegan athlete, there are rumblings that the plant-based food in Paris is having a detrimental effect on performance from the athletes. So we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, here we go. First up, Next Level Burger has received the title of Best Fast Food Chain in the 2024 Newsweek Reader's Choice Awards, beating out all the conventional non-vegan chains. Top 10 winners, well, top 3 winners I'll give you. Next Level Burger, then Whataburger, then Chipotle Mexican Grill, followed by many more mainstream fast food restaurants. Doug, what do you think of this? Is this possible that a vegan thing really won this, or is it rigged?
I think it's certainly possible. But they might have had some help by I don't know, asking people to vote for them or something, because I can't imagine there's that many people who have actually been to a Next Level Burger. I've never seen one. There's only a couple, right?
Right. I mean, if they won this thing fair and square, it would be because they got a huge amount of vegans voting for it. But you and I have never even had the opportunity to go to one. I mean, I haven't even been within 1,000 miles of one, I don't think. So I don't understand. I'm saying this is a totally fixed thing. It's just no way it beats all these mainstream chains. I would love it if it did. But when 1% of the US is vegan, I get that non-vegans can go to a fast food restaurant that's vegan, but are they really going to? I don't know. So I'm calling foul here.
Maybe it's a bunch of Lewis Hamilton lovers or something. It was his birthday the other day. Maybe little birthday gift.
A little spike, birthday spike.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it'd be great. I mean, I have no doubt that it's delicious, and it probably is better than a lot of these restaurants. But
yeah, I'm sure it's great. I mean, I'm not saying it's not great at all. It beat Chick-fil-A. I mean, come on, people just love that place.
And In-N-Out,
right?
No one loves Firehouse subs though. That's that got number 9. That's no one is crazy about Firehouse subs. What's Culver's? Do you know Culver's?
We have a Culver's near us. I think it's like an old-fashioned kind of diner sort of place. I don't know. But Butterburger, frozen custard, curds, and more. Yeah, kind of old-fashioned Southern thing.
Yeah, interesting.
So there you go. Good job,
what would you say? All right, let's say your top 3 that you actually go to, that you get excited about when you see them, if you need a fast food restaurant, and then what would you have guessed the top 3 would be?
I mean, Taco Bell to me has to be in that list. It's a great, for vegans, great choice, and it's common. So that would be, didn't even make the top 10 here. I don't know how. Other than that, I like Chipotle. I don't consider that fast food, but I like it. And then I'd put, also not really fast food, I'd put Panda Express there if they're going to have the Beyond Chicken thing, because that's
yes,
that's a great treat to find that thing.
No BK.
No, I'm over BK. I don't know why. Just seems gross and dirty.
All right.
What about you?
Yeah, I would say Burger King, Chipotle, maybe Taco Bell. I don't know.
Taco Bell's actually way dirtier than Burger King. I don't know why I have this.
Yeah, I even have trouble with Taco Bell because I haven't been back to a Taco Bell, I don't think, since my my mix-up where I got the meat.
Right.
The meat, whatever it is.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. This is interesting. Elmhurst 1925 is a former dairy producer. Now they make plant-based milk, but in this case, they are venturing into the meat alternatives market with a plant-based chicken product. But what's interesting about this product is it's not just a plant-based chicken, another plant-based chicken. It's sold as dry powder, gets rehydrated with water and oil, and then you add spice blend for flavor. And that's how you make this plant-based chicken cutlet that a former dairy producer is now making. So it just seems like a kind of a weird story. One chef has commented on it who has worked on it that said it's amazing to work with. It is delicious. One clean ingredient, hemp grain protein. So just pure hemp grain protein, and then you add spices and rehydrate it, and you get chicken. I looked at the picture of it. It looks a little spongy. Doesn't look like a textured, delicious thing to me, but in a pinch, I'm sure it would do.
I think that they do this with real meat too, right? Am I making that up?
Powder it?
Yeah, like dehydrated, powdered, and then you rehydrate it and kind of form it into something. I might be totally wrong about that.
I didn't know that happened, but maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Interesting.
You could get that and some powdered oat milk, Doug, and then you wouldn't have to have any actual food in your house. You could just have that stuff all the time. No water ever used, eco-friendly, and you just have powders that you rehydrate when it's time to eat.
I got the algorithm fed me a reel from a powdered alcohol producer or someone who's trying to make powdered alcohol. So you can take your margaritas anywhere in the world and just add a little water, shake it up.
Or you could do pixie stick style and just put some sugar with it and put it right in your tongue.
What if you only ate powdered foods?
I mean, you might have to. That might be where the world goes after who knows what might happen.
Right.
All right, and two more. This one's called a company called Gourmet. It's like gourmet normally, but with instead of the T, they have a Y. So I assume it's still gourmet. It's a French startup that makes cultivated foie gras, and that, of course, is the controversial. What is it? Duck livers or something? Terrible food even for omnivores. A lot of them think foie gras is too cruel to eat. Anyway, this is the first company that has applied for regulatory approval to sell cultivated meat in the European Union. So I didn't realize that no one had yet applied to do that. We just heard last week that in the UK, I think it's Meatly. Is that the name of the dog food company that had gotten the certification to sell cultivated pet food? Anyway, this is the first one to do it in the UK to go for cultivated meat. It's not clear yet what will happen in Italy because they have banned cultivated meat. Although there have been suggestions that the ban is unenforceable due to, according to Vegconomist, due to the government's violation of EU scrutiny procedures. So that will be interesting. Is Switzerland is not part of the EU because they're so neutral? They just stay out of that?
That would surprise me, but...
Well, the last line here says the gourmet submission comes a year after another cultivated meat company, Aleph Farms, applied for regulatory approval in Switzerland and the UK. So that's why I'm surprised, because I've heard this before, that they applied in the UK. But I would think Switzerland would have been in the...
Yeah, Google says that Switzerland is not an EU or EEA member, but is part of the single market, which means Swiss nationals have the same rights to live and work in the UK and the EU nations.
They stay out of everything, those Swiss.
It's probably not a bad move.
No, it's probably not a bad move. I wouldn't mind if we did that. I wouldn't mind moving to Switzerland, actually. All right. And last but not least, and this will segue into our main topic of the day, Plant-Based News reports that British cyclist Anna Henderson has credited veganism with making her leaner and faster on her bike. And she, according to common knowledge now, won a silver medal in the women's individual time trial at this year's Paris Olympics. One of the first for Team Great Britain. I actually watched some of the women's time trial cycling. It was a very wet day, and there were a lot of falls. It was actually hard to watch because the falls look terrible. And you know how I feel about cycling and risks of falls. So it was tough to watch. You know what's tougher to watch, though? Skateboarding street event or whatever that is, where they're in this little skate park, and they just have to jump up and do like a single rail grind. And then you're just watching these like 12 and 13-year-old kids just like eat it over and over these awful falls, trying to do a grind down steps. And it's like, I don't know what kind of sport it is. It's like if you land one trick, you're going to win a medal because they're just taking falls. The other thing is like, I can't believe how young they all are. But then I was thinking, I guess grown-ups just don't want to fall like that. Or if you do it long enough, you get injured and then you're out of the sport. Because it was brutal.
Yeah, the youngest person ever in the Olympics is a skateboarder right now. I think 11 years old, 11 and a half years old.
From China?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the skateboarding yet.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was just strange to see them fall. It looked like those cringe like YouTube things where you watch people like have these awful wrecks. That's what it was like. It really was hard to keep watching it. Anyway, back to the story here. Anna Henderson says, I used to be like, I'll never be vegan. I love meat. I think this happened before this interview happened before she won this medal. And then she said, but I think what happens is that we all dissociate from what meat is and what animals are. And once she made the connection, she couldn't eat meat anymore or any animal products. She says, all around, it's been a huge positive change in my life. And I hope that riders will make the change soon. So that's good. At least one person is saying that the plant-based diet is actually helping with the performance. Because the main story here is from, of course, New York Post, who says that Olympics vegan-oriented food options concern athletes. Any more to talk about, Doug, before we jump into this Olympics?
No, let's just jump in.
All right. So from New York Post, we all know that in Paris, in the Olympic Village, that Sodexo Live, which is the caterer, I guess you'd call it the caterer, the food provider, they are serving, I think they said 60% plant-based meals. Is that right? Or 60% vegan and maybe even like 80% vegetarian.
Something
So
like that.
not a whole lot of traditional, French food, I would imagine. And not a lot of the food maybe some of these athletes are used to eating. Maybe some. I'm sure a lot of them eat plenty of vegetables. So I also think it's probably pretty familiar cuisine to a lot of them. But not according to this article, because, well, New York Post says they found one athlete who has a problem with this, at least.
Yeah, it's one.
And one former athlete. So anyway, we'll see. Ariarne Titmus, who won gold at the women's 400-meter freestyle on Saturday. I've been watching a lot of the swimming. I've enjoyed watching the swimming. She seemingly attributed posting a slower time than she had anticipated, in part due to the less authentic cuisine. So, weird sentence. I don't know what authentic has really to do with it. That just seems strange to me. But I mean, interesting that a gold medalist would then come and, this isn't like sour grapes, just, grasping for some excuse. I mean, she won. Is it a she? I don't, yeah. So she said, it probably wasn't the time I thought I was capable of, but living in the Olympic Village makes it hard to perform. It's definitely not made for high performance. So it's about who can really keep it together in the mind. So from that statement,
right, that so if you stop there, I mean I guess the whole thing makes sense in a one way or the other, but like that makes a lot of sense, right? You're kind of in this Olympic Village with all these athletes and all these things happening for a week
crazy
leading up to your
media
event.
circus.
Yeah, it's a huge circus. Of course, like it's gonna impact how you sleep, how how your training leading up to the race goes, all that stuff. Yeah, but anyway, keep going.
Okay, well that's the quote from that person, and there's no mention of food. It's just this general thing about the Olympic Village not being made for high performance. So unless there's more that they didn't tell us, this is from Daily Mail. I guess we can go read that article if we want. But anyway, that just doesn't seem like it's about food necessarily. It could be, but and then the bigger criticism comes from James Magnuson.
This is a different person even. This isn't even the gold medalist.
And he's not a current athlete either. He's a former. He's not even eating the food and competing. He just has a thing against plant-based foods.
This is such a wild, ridiculous story.
Okay, keep going. And so what he says is he says the lack of world records, and I didn't know that there was a lack of world records, but I guess there is, boils down to this whole eco-friendly, carbon footprint, vegan first mentality rather than high performance. And he won a swimming bronze medal for Australia in 2016. That's when he last won a medal. Maybe he's won more than that. I thought he was like the chess champion, but then I realized that was not. That was Magnus Carlsen. Anyway, he said, Sodexo Live may have erred in its estimation about the proportion of athletes who prefer vegan diets. He says they must have watched Game Changers. Why couldn't he have said they must have read the Plant-Based Athlete? That would have been a nice little shout out in the New York Post. But no, he just mentioned Game Changers. And he said, but let me tell you, Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, Roger Federer, none of those guys are on a vegan diet, which is odd that he mentioned Federer because Djokovic is on a, if not 100% vegan, very, very close to vegan diet. And he's like right up there in the conversation with Federer. So that's interesting, choice of people. Anyway, so that's it. Then they mentioned Tom Brady. Weirdly, because they just call him Brady. They don't even say Tom Brady here.
I know. The whole article was very odd. Poorly written. Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah.
All right, last bit here, Doug. Last bit here, then I want to hear your comments. They mentioned this nutrition and running high mileage study, which I had never heard of before this. And from that, they said 44% of endurance runners report omnivorous diets compared to 34% vegans and 20.9% vegetarians. That's shocking to me. Shocking that you'd draw from that a conclusion that somehow this diet is bad because less than half of people are vegan. I mean, look at the base rate, right? If we said something like 1% of the country is vegan, and yet 34% of high mileage runners are vegan. I mean, that's a massive argument for there must be something to this vegan diet for sports. I mean, that's just all the evidence you need. But anyway, this study, apparently they did some comparison of the times and said that the vegans and vegetarians were slower than everyone else. But I looked at the study itself, and it was just like a self-reported survey thing. So who knows about the methodology? But interesting numbers there. I can't believe that 35% of those people were vegan. That's shocking to me. All right, so what do you think here, Doug? While you quote or comment, I'm going to read the Daily Mail version of this and see if there's any more evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a made up story to try to get people to get angry about the Olympics again. I mean, I do believe that, like, all the changes, that it has to be weird living in the Olympic Village, all the hype going into the Olympics, all that stuff. I'm sure that's going to impact sometimes for the positive, right? I mean, maybe you can ride that wave and get your world records, but also with world records, they're talking about swimming in particular, I think here. I mean, I remember, I think it was the Hong Kong Olympics, whenever Michael Phelps got all those world records, they were saying the pool was the fastest pool because it had this like really extended out area for the water to like overflow or something. And so it minimized wake and waves and all that stuff. And so it was a particularly fast pool, and that contributed to all the world records. So, I mean, I think everything is just, you just never really know. So
yeah,
I don't know.
One more problem with the story that I found is they said when they were talking about Magnuson's comments, they said he took exception to the village's designated food provider for opting for a menu devoid of more traditional meats and proteins. So that wasn't his word. They just said for opting for a menu devoid of more traditional. So I had to look up because I thought devoid, that seems like a strong word. I looked it up. Devoid means here, I'll tell you exactly what it means as I look it up. It means completely wanting or lacking, completely free of something. So just wrong word choice. Right? It's not completely free of proteins. Of course, they have plenty of that. Even if it was just vegetables, it's still not free of proteins. But I'm sure, and it's not free. There's 60 or 40% of the food still is non-vegan, and at least 20% of it is non-vegetarian. So it's not devoid. It may be lacking. I can see that, but it's not devoid. All right, I clicked over to the Daily Mail. Go ahead.
You also have to. You wonder. All right, so I know that they cater to a bunch of different types of cuisine, right? Taking out the whole vegan omnivore thing, different types of food, right, for all the different countries. But there's no way that your Indian athlete or African athlete is going to have the exact same types of food cooked the same way. And everything that they're used to eating back home. And so it's going to be a change in diet for them no matter what. And that's gotta be hard. I imagine that probably traditional Western diets are, the foods that we're more used to are probably more common than some of the other cuisines.
Right. Yeah.
So they have to be at a bit of a disadvantage there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't thought about that. All right, this Daily Mail article, there's a lot of problem with the whole Olympic Village. The headline there is how the woke 2024 Paris Olympic Village is ending any world record hopes after Coco Gauff revealed her entire team left for a hotel. But that didn't have to do with the food. That had to do with a bunch of other stuff that they don't like, the bathrooms and things. They mentioned it as far as the food. They mentioned an egg shortage. People want lots of eggs, and not surprising. I think athletes like a lot of eggs. And grilled meat. They said those had to be rationed out at breakfast. Some lodging complaints over the measly portions. Let's see. I'm trying to read what this Ariane Titmus said. Nothing more specific about the food there, just the conditions in general. So that might have been taken out of context. I don't know. But, as much as I've been saying this is goofy, and this is a silly article, and it's just like, to me, very unfounded. For the caterer to go this far, right? Like I think having some sustainable choices, maybe a lot of sustainable choices, is great. But when it is an athletic competition, like you need to make sure you have enough food, or that you've done a good job of estimating how many people do want this food, right? I hope the intention wasn't at all, we're going to make these athletes adapt a little bit and eat more sustainably here, right? Because the point of this whole event and all the money and all the intention on it is to see the athletes do what they do well. So I think if people want more eggs and meat than are actually there, then the caterer certainly made a mistake, right? I don't think that they are right in not providing the food the athletes are used to. And I also, I don't necessarily think eating up, like I'm sure some vegans would see this and say, come on, this food should make the athletes better in their sport. And I don't really agree with that either, because I've never thought that vegan food makes a athlete at the peak of their career automatically better. I just think it makes careers last longer. That from what you can see happening, to me, that's sort of the apparent effect that it has, which could have to do with recovery, could have to do with less breakdown, less injury, who knows. So I'm not here to say like this article's wrong because vegan food is perfect for athletes. But I don't know. It's obvious, like you said, it's just sort of it just seems like they wanted to make a big deal about the vegan food, and that's what they did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Garuda says just let people eat what they want. Garuda, he also says the longer vegans compete, the more people will realize a vegan diet is not optimal for competitive sports. And I mean, that's sort of like, actually, no, it's not sort of what I just
see some research behind that, Garuda.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think it's optimal for prolonging a career, even at the very highest level of sport. I don't know if it's the thing that makes someone else. Apparently, Carl Lewis won a bunch of his medals, or somehow had his best year of running while he was vegan, and he wasn't vegan for very long, but he was. And I read this a long time ago, so don't quote me on the data. But then the year or two after that, he started doing worse. And what people said is, you get this sort of short-term boost from a plant-based diet, but eventually you run into nutritional deficiencies and things at this highest level of sport that makes it hard to sustain. So who really knows? I don't know, but you do see some, at the absolute peak succeeding with plant-based diets. So who knows? All right. Any more interesting comments here?
Your average chest over on Twitch, it says they donated $307. I kind of think that's probably fake, but
and they said just became vegan.
Not. Thank you.
I didn't know we were set up to receive any Twitch money. I don't know how someone would do that, but if so, wonderful. They became vegan last month, so good for you. British says, bring Dotsie in this chat. She'll tell you how being vegan and how very optimal she is in her performance. Dotsie, I think, won silver. Is that right?
Sounds right.
Also in cycling, I believe. Dotsie Bausch. And does now a lot of good work spreading the message through what's her organization, Doug? With the
Good
milk,
something for good.
Switch for good. Switch for good. Yeah, the thing about dairy mainly. Okay, Vegan Stallion's back. Good. Vegan Stallion, you weren't here last show of ours when I issued a formal apology to you. You weren't at the show, and I thought maybe you were never coming back because I didn't sleep well the day before and was in a bad mood, and I didn't like your take on something, and I think I blamed your vegan cheese opinion on making your opinions not trustable or something like that. So anyway, formal apology issued. I blame that on lack of sleep. Glad you're back.
You said you were tired today again, Matt. Are you not sleeping well?
But no, Aaron's sick, so I had to get up early and do something normally she would do because usually I don't do the very early things or function well when we have them. But it's fine. It's part of the job. All right. Garuda's saying only gold makes you a winner, and I said that now twice, so I don't know what that's about.
Silver's.
Okay. Well, did James Magnuson win gold though? I mean, we saw he won a bronze. I think if you win silver, bronze is okay. That's still pretty good. You don't have to be. It's not that only gold medal athletes get any credit. But you get fourth place. Worthless career.
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that more omnivores have not won gold than vegans.
It's true. I mean, very likely true. All right, Magnuson did win a gold, silver, and a bronze medal in games in 2012 and 2016. So he's got some credibility.
Did you watch the men's gymnastics last night?
Yes, I saw the American team get bronze, and they were very happy about that.
And the guy who's now the new the new face of the Olympics. What's his name?
Oh, that Rivers Cuomo looking guy with the glasses.
I love that guy.
Yeah, what I liked about him was he did some interview or something, or maybe they were the announcers, but they were saying that he had basically said, "This 45 seconds that I will be doing is what I've been working for my entire life," and that's a pretty big statement to make. But that was my kind of lamenting of the Olympics as a whole a few weeks ago, saying like people are training their entire life, most of whom are not going to make any money from this sport, and they're just doing it for this one thing. And then after this, it's downhill. And if this guy would have just messed up on that pommel horse, and he went out there and said it. This is the most important 45 seconds of my life. But he didn't. He did what he needed to do.
He didn't. He crushed it, and it was awesome. I don't know.
It was cool.
It was so cool. And just like what I chimed in, or I jumped into started watching, I guess kind of late. It seems like he was more enthusiastic and energetic earlier in the day, maybe when other events were happening. But like the 45 minutes before he went on, he was just like stone cold, closed eyes, so hyper focused. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. And then zero emotion until he finished. And then he was just so excited. I thought it was great.
The gymnastics always produces those things. Like Carrie Strug, remember that with the broken or whatever?
I mean, even Gabby Gifford. Not Gifford. Gabby, what's her name? Why am I blanking?
I don't know. I know
the female gymnast.
Not Michaela Maroney. I liked her stuff. And she was not impressed. Remember that thing? She did a little face.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Gabby Douglas.
Gabby Douglas.
Yes.
What'd she do?
Well, she has a hurt Simone Biles. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes, Simone Biles. She has a hurt ankle.
Yes.
And and she's like crushing it and then limping off, barely able to like walk on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's great.
Yeah, it is.
Simone Biles. Oh man, I'm embarrassed I forgot that name.
That's right. You pulled Gabby Douglas. It's pretty good one. That's a gymnast, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. Katie C. She's an Olympic. She's a gymnast, not an Olympic. She's a gymnast, and she teared up. So that's good. And Bridger says U.S. women's rugby team is tearing it up. Strong AF. I watched a little women's water polo, and I watched some soccer. I haven't watched women's soccer yet, but I watched Spain women's soccer, actually. Anyway, enough about the sports that I've watched. All right. Anything else, Doug?
No, let's do it. Let's bounce.
Okay. We're done. Thanks for showing up. Enjoy the Olympics today. Root for the vegans. Diana Taurasi, don't forget, women's basketball. She's vegan. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Have a great Tuesday, everyone.
Normal week this week. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. I did not impressed. I did my Michaela Maroney.
Oh. Yeah, nice.
All right.